the
Give me a
greatest.
hug.
You are the greatest real estate lady in the whole world.
Well, you can tell by looking at me, I've had my share of years.
Yeah.
What have you been doing since
I took your advice.
Oh.
I went and I visited. Oh, I went to so many different beautiful towns in this Georgia. I went to Monroe, Bethlehem. I was in Auburn. Several other ones. And I even went to one called Dracula.
Dracula? You know what, Kathleen?
Huh?
I think you might mean Decula. Might mean Decula.
Whoops.
That's okay. It's probably been called Dracula before, but I'm quite sure that's what you
Well, I saw the sign and it said Dracula. Maybe it didn't have an R in it. Anyway, as I was going through all these beautiful towns, I saw some beautiful churches along the way. I saw Baptist churches, I saw Methodist churches, Presbyterian churches too, and Catholic churches.
Yeah.
But I met a lot of nice people along the way too. A lot of them just hugged me, and with all these churches and all the beautiful towns, we must be God-loving people around in this area.
We really do have some fine people here in Barrow County. I think everybody you meet, especially those that are natives, even though I'm a transplant. Barrow County is one of the most welcoming communities I've ever been, and I'm glad you had the opportunity to
see all the churches. But you know what?
What?
There was one thing I want to ask you about. There's this big, beautiful church called St. Matthew's down the road a piece.
I know it.
And right behind it, there's a real cute little church. And it's got stained glass windows, and it just looks so cute and homey. Do you know what that is?
Well,
it doesn't have a name.
No, you're going to have to listen closely.
Okay.
It's not a church.
Oh.
No. It was a church. Then, even before it was a church, it was a school. But now, it's a social hall. It's a social hall for St. Matthew's Catholic Church, and it's called Hedges Hall. I know that's kind of a lot to get together. It took me a while. And I can tell by the look on your face, you've got more questions. And I can tell you that I don't have the answers. But you know what today is?
What's today?
You are so lucky. Today is Spring Porch Ladies Day. It only happens, I knew you were going to ask me, what is that? It only happens twice a year. And we're never sure when Betty's going to do it. She gets it together. But it's always in the spring and fall. And these ladies, in fact, just right before I got here, I walked by Betty's house. And I said, doggone, am I in luck? It's Porch Lady Day. And I saw Carm, and I saw Janice and Peggy and Betty sitting on the porch. And if you want to know any history about St. Matthew, and not just St. Matthew, some other ministries that were started here in this area, that's where we need to go. I know you're on a schedule, but have you got time? Why don't we just walk over there and see if they always. You know what? I forgot to tell you something.
Oh, I think.
Yeah, just right around the corner. I figured you could see them. And when we see them, the word spreads throughout the community. Hey, did y'all know it's Porch Lady Day this spring? And they're like me, they love to talk. But the whole community knows what they're talking about. It's the same thing every year, and you just hear them laughing. They're always talking about St. Matthew and the things that happened with St. Matthew in the community back in the day. So I see you've seen them. Hey ladies, how are you? Good. This is my friend Kathleen. And Kathleen, this is Janice, Betty, Peggy, and Carm. Kathleen has been shopping in our community for a place to live, and she fell in love with Hedges Hall, which used to be, as you all know, it used to be St. Matthew Catholic Church. She had a lot of questions that I knew I could answer, but do you all have time to share with us for just a little bit? I know it's getting kind of late in the day for you, but I know you like to talk about the past too. there for us. We'll just sit right here on the porch.
Watch out for the snake.
Oh, I've already heard somebody talk about a snake once today.
Eddie, you're shy. What did she say? She said, watch out for the snakes.
Janice, somebody told me that you went to school at the old Matthew School before it ever became St. Matthew. Is that true?
Yes, I was second grade.
Second grade. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
What little I can remember is we'd come in from the bus from the back, and there was a cafeteria here. And we had a little outhouse too. And we heated with potbelly stoves, but I think they probably could tell you a little bit more about that. They were still here when she got here. But yeah, we just lived up the road there, and this is one of the schools of many in Barrow County that I attended.
How many grades were in the school?
There were 1 through 8.
1 through 8. Well, you know my husband's old. And last night he was telling me that he thought this school, Matthew School, was built about the mid to late 20s. Would you go along with that?
Yeah, about the mid-20s.
About the mid-20s. Do you know when it stopped being a school, ballpark year?
I think about 58.
1958. Do you know how it got its name?
No, I'm not sure.
Betty, do you have any idea how it got its name?
No, I have no idea. It must have been a Matthew family, though, I would imagine.
Well, I heard there was a doctor, I think it was C.D. Matthew, I'm not sure, but I heard there was a Dr. Matthew.
Use the mic because they can't.
Can you hear me in the back? I think there was a Dr. Matthew, and it was named after him. And you've heard of Holzenbeck. If you look at the old Holzenbeck pictures, Janice, they look a lot like Matthew's
I
school.
went to Husenbeck too.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
See, I told you, Kathleen, she knows everything.
My dad was either a farmer or he was running from the rent person. I don't know. He was a farmer.
The mic
Thank
up.
you. Betty, what year did you move to this community?
We moved here, I was pregnant with this young lady sitting over here. We moved here when my husband came to work for Carwood Manufacturing Company. This used to be a clothing manufacturing center, the whole thing. Anyway, I think it was about 1962 or 3. And I'm from New Orleans, and then I lived in Kentucky, went to parochial school. There were no Catholics anywhere in Barrow County. And it was really, we had to go to Athens, and we had to go to Monroe, and it was really, really sad that we didn't have a place to come. But in 1964, this old Matthew School building went up for auction, and J.W. Maynard bought it. And Father John Mulroy from Athens approached the Archdiocese of Atlanta, and they bought this old building to serve as a mission. But there were only 9 families of us when we started. Now there are 1,200 families, so something took place. Some garden blossomed somewhere. Lots of blossoms. But anyway, I can remember the day that the property was dedicated. The weeds were up to here. The place had been abandoned for a number of years. But we were so happy to have some place that we could come, and we were going to make this a church. Well, believe you me, we had our work cut out for us. We walked through the weeds, and the bishop blessed the property. He turned out to end up being a cardinal, but at the time he came, he was a bishop. And when we first opened the door to come in here, oh my goodness, these pot-bellied stoves you could find out, and the men decided, well, we got to get rid of these things first off. So they pulled them out of the wall, and here came the squirrels and the critters and the rats running out. Oh, it was just, we had a big job to do. This was a high stage. We tore that out, and we had a big hole here. And we didn't have any money to close it up. So we had several years when we had no heat. And some of these people can tell you all about it.
Better bring your coat.
And we had to pave, this road was not paved for a long, long time. When it was raining, we had to park the cars way back on Matthews School Road and walk in, and we have to leave our shoes at the door. There used to be a door right here going out. And you'd see a row of shoes full of mud. And then we would have mass around a little stove that we had in the back. And that went on for a long time. So this is truly a mission. If you know what a mission is, this is what they go through. Except I never thought we'd be doing it in the USA, you know. It was strange.
Well, Betty, you've answered a question already that I had, because I heard somebody in the community say, "You're Catholic, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah." Well, yeah, yeah. And they said, "Do you know much about the history of your church up there?" And I said, "No, not really, but I'm going to find out on Saturday." And they said, "Well, you know, I remember that old church, and you could tell when there was a service going on by all the shoes outside the door." But now, thank you, Betty, it makes sense. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate, well, now I'm going to look at Peggy over there. Peggy, from what I gather, you were instrumental in a lot of the beginnings around here as far as religious education is concerned. Is that right? And I've also heard that there was another church that kind of partnered with, I have trouble with that word, partnered with you. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, please?
Well, yes, I came here in 1976, and I was with Betty and Janice when we were back in the little room with no heat, and there were very few people every Sunday, so as you can tell, it's grown a lot. But then when I had my kids in the early 80s, we started religious ed. Ann Miller and Patty Heelan, who are sitting at this table, went to Atlanta to a meeting to start the religious education program. And I just remember a lot of things like, you know, we were small, and St. Anthony's Episcopal Church, which is right in town across from Wineboro High School, they were a small church also, so for several summers, we had joint vacation Bible schools with St. Anthony's. We would go there one summer, and their teachers and our teachers would work together, and all the kids would be there. Then the next summer, we'd come out here to St. Matthew. We also did that for a couple of years during Lent. We had joint Lenten programs with St. Anthony's Episcopal Church. You know, our priests would have a program, and they would come here, and then the next year we'd go to St. Anthony's, and Reverend Nicholson would have a program there. So we did, you know, we were ecumenical back in the 70s and 80s when we did things with them. You know, we were both smaller churches, so we joined together so we could have a more active, you know, vacation Bible school. And then, you know, we started growing here, so we had more religious education classes here, and over the years, you know, we were smaller, so I thought we did a lot of really interesting things. I remember one year, the first communion class, back here in the kitchen, I don't know, there were, you know, maybe 8 or 10 kids, and we baked unleavened bread. I'm pretty sure Ann's husband Henry helped us with that, and they learned all about communion. And then through the years, we just did all different kind of things. We had, I think it was in the Father Carroll, the La Salette priest came in the late 80s, early 90s, and Father Tom Carroll. We started, as Betty would tell you, they started under St. Joseph's in Athens. Then when I came, we were a mission of St. Anna's in Monroe. And then, like, I think it was the late 80s, we became a mission of St. Oliver Plunkett in Snellville. And Father Tom Carroll was the pastor, and then we had Father Mike and Father Cliff. They were La Salette priests. But anyway, Father Tom did a lot for religious education to help it grow. Like back then he was really good at this. We had children's masses. And during the Mass, Father Tom would call kids down to the front, you know, and he would speak on their level of homily. And I still remember, I thought he did such a great job with that, because he always had some kind of little prop to tell kids. Like one time, he had a little lamp up on the altar, and he taught the kids about Christ being the light of the world, and a light in their life. So he was real good to do religious education programs with the children. We had also, then as some of the kids got older, the high school youth group, when my son was in high school, he got a trailer that was out right behind this building. I can't remember where he got it from. He had connections, and he had come from Marietta, and he knew a lot of people, so he was always able to get things. But anyway, he got a trailer for the high school youth group, and they were so excited. You know, that was their own little meeting space, and they made things to fix it up and decorate it, so the high school youth group met there for a couple of years, and that was thanks to Father Tom. And, he also, earlier, Janice will tell you this, her husband Frank, back in the 70s, I think it was, had remodeled some in the back, made us little religious education classrooms back there now where it's in the back of the building. But when Father Carroll came, we had sort of a major renovation, and he got all this was the altar, he got all this done, and, cause it was right before our first communion, they were doing all this, and my daughter was in the first communion class, and I was worried it was not gonna be completed, but it was. So Father Tom was very instrumental in getting this whole building remodeled. Then he, a couple of years after that, got the religious education building built in the back. So, you know, as the years went by, more people joined St. Matthew's and we had more students, we could do a lot more with them. And, but we had a good time. There weren't that many Catholics, but, you know, as we grew, there were more and more, so the groups got a little better. One summer, I think we even did a little bit with the First Christian Church with their youth group. A couple of times, our two youth groups got together and did it.
I used to do religious education with some kids at another school that I used to be with. How many students do you usually have in classes now?
Oh, religious ed now?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't know much about religious ed now. I'm not working it. Back then, we had, you know, about 10 or so in a class.
Do you know, sure?
Classes now are
I was just
really-
wondering, maybe I
I
could get
think
involved.
it's something like, well over, like 125, somewhere in that ballpark, I would think, but that's guessing, it's just a guesstimate.
Okay.
Well, something else I wanted to ask the ladies about, and I'm not sure if it's you or maybe all of you can jump in on this one. I heard that the Barrow County Food Pantry started as a result of efforts from ladies at St. Matthew and also at St. Anthony's. I've been volunteering there for years as a clothes closet. I never had any idea that the Barrow County Cooperative Benevolent Ministries originated from right here with a joint effort with St. Anthony's. Can you talk about that?
Well, I can. I had a terrible accident a number of years back. In fact, it was 1980. And in 1981, before I went back to work, I was reading our Atlanta diocesan paper, and I saw in there that they were doing a seminar at St. Luke's in Atlanta to tell you how to set up a food pantry. Well, this was just when people began to get interested in the fact that there was a growing need. You know, there really hadn't been any before. So Ann Miller and the Episcopal Church Women's, Father Nicholson's wife, Mary Jane Nicholson, Ann and Mary Jane and I drove to Atlanta, and we went to this seminar to learn how to do a food pantry. And after that, we went to Athens to see how they set theirs up. And then we got together to form a board here. Well, you know, when you're gonna do things like this, you have to cover all the bases and be very careful. So our board consisted of the preacher that was the pastor of the Wesleyan Methodist Church. He was the first president. I was the first vice president. Peggy was our secretary. Edna Jennings, who's no longer with us, was our treasurer. And Betty Petrie was our DFACS representative. And our lawyer was Mike Strickland to make sure all the dots were dotted and the T's were crossed. And that's how this began. And the Episcopal Church actually had a little closet in their building, and that's where the first little cans of food were accumulated. And it grew from there. And believe me, it has grown and grown and grown. And we all had this tiny part in getting this thing going. But Carm served on the board, and of course I did for a long time. And Peggy, you did too. Until we got all these things going. And, you know, comes a time when you have to back off and let other people take over, because I'm not so young anymore. But it was wonderful, and I'm very, very pleased that things are doing this way. And as far as the clothes closet goes, Bill Jennings, Edna Jennings' husband, had that warehouse, and he said, well, you know, some people need clothes, and so he let us use that space, and they started gathering clothes for people who needed. And it was all cleared through the DFACS department. So that's where that began, and I'm very proud
it must be really humbling for Betty to have seen this church, her church, start with 9 families, and now there are about 1,200 families. I can't imagine how proud, and also, as I said,
Make
humble.
me want to cry, to tell you the truth.
But Betty, since you're about to cry, I think we need to have a little humor, because y'all know me, I like to have a little humor. I've heard some stories, Betty.
Oh, yeah.
Betty, now Kathleen, you're gonna be interested, because you play the piano.
Well,
Betty was our first pianist and organist at St. Matthew. And Betty, I've heard something about some weird organ. I heard something about horse racing. I don't know. Can you help us?
Of course, well, first of all, I don't ever play very well, but nobody else volunteered, so that's it. The first instrument we had was an old Army field organ, which is actually a box that unfolds, and it has, you do your knees like this. You have to put the air in like this. That's when I started wearing pants to church. Right on that corner. And the pews were here, and my daughters are sitting at this first table. They sat in that first bench right there. So after I played one song, I got down, and if they misbehaved, they got the pinch of the twist. Well, one night in the middle of an evening service, I was pedaling away. Okay. This mouse came right under the organ. Well, we all got a good laughter out of that, but then the big squeak. Then after we graduated from that one, St. Mary's in Athens had an old electronic. It wasn't really an organ, I don't know what you could call it, but anyway, plugged in. And it was here on this corner, and in the middle of one service there, sometimes it picked up radio messages. Well, in the middle of Mass, all of a sudden, we hear, I don't know how many of you are familiar with racing, but the call to the post goes like this. You know, I guess I should be glad these things happen. It covered up all the mistakes.
Great story.
Those are real memories.
That is so great.
That is great. Thank you for sharing
Oh,
that.
that's wonderful. Look at that. Bill told me there that, can you hear me? No.
Hit the mic.
Hey, I don't think it's working.
Hit the
But
mic.
anyway, I'm looking over at this beautiful, beautiful, really. What's her name? Carm?
Carm.
Carm, yes. I'm gonna go up there and take a look at it if it's okay with you.
Sure.
Okay.
You might want to-
Oh, that is so beautiful, Carmen. Did you do that yourself?
No, Kathleen, there's a group of us from St. Matthew's that took some classes from Midway Methodist Church. There is a woman there named Brenda. Something else, I mean, she is so patient with, she taught us how to do this.
Oh, and this is called
And this is called a prayer
a
quilt.
prayer quilt.
And each little knot has a prayer. We pray as we knot these little knots on it.
For that you'll do a good job?
Pardon?
I said, what do you pray for, that you'll do a good job?
First thing we're gonna give
Use
it.
the mic.
This one goes to my grandson,
Use the
who
mic.
is stationed in Afghanistan.
Use your mic.
And,
Carm,
she
use the
also
mic.
taught us to
Use the
do,
mic. You can't hear you back here.
regular quilting. Oh, gosh.
There.
It'll bite me. But anyhow, we worked with the people at Midway Methodist Church with their food program, their many different things that they've taught us, and we are so happy to be a part of them. But also, when I came to this church, it was modernized, Betty.
What year was that? You got to wear your shoes the whole time.
Yes. And at that time, Father Tom and Father Mike were here, and boy, they really got busy on making this a pretty church. It was a beautiful church. We loved it so much. Then in 2007, we moved down to the new church. Well, that is really beautiful. I don't know if any of you have been in it, but you need to go and visit it. So we got involved with the Ministerial Association. Betty took me there. I served there for a few years, and it was nice. It was a nice program. Ah, they can't hear me?
They can't hear you back, so they'd like to hear it. So use the mic close to your mouth.
Well, I thought my voice carried well. But anyhow, my time here at St. Matthew's started in 1992. I came because my family was here, my daughter and my 2 grandchildren, and my husband wanted to move over here closer to them. So that's how I became involved in it. And I've been here since 22 years. I've been with, let's see, Father Tom, Father Mike, Father Cliff, Father Reyes, Father Dima, and now Father Jaime and Father Leo.
And Father Henry Solomon.
No, Father Henley was here when I first came.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Carm, you've seen a lot of changes just since '92, though.
Yes, I have.
And even though Carm has only been here, I say only, that's getting to be quite a few years, since '92 compared to these other ladies, she certainly has made a lot of changes, and I don't know of anybody that loves St. Matthew any more than Carm Hoskins. I mean, they all love it, but she came late, but she's very well grounded, very well grounded. I know time is becoming short, and we've got another appointment. Is there one more thing you would like to say?
I want you all to take a look at these beautiful windows. I'll tell you a quick story about the windows. When Father Ed Daniker was here, he was with us for 8 years. He had been a chaplain at St. Joseph's Hospital when it was in downtown Atlanta, before they moved to their new hospital. And when he was doing some remodeling in the church, he went to see the sisters there. They were going to tear down the chapel. The property had been sold, and he asked for these windows. These windows were made by the monks at Conyers. They are very, very special. They are very, very precious, and we were very, very pleased to have them. And, you know, I hope they stay here forever. I look at these and it's just, they came from a hospital chapel, and the sisters were really kind enough to give them to us, which is in itself remarkable. So enjoy them, look at them. And by the way, Father Tom saw that we got these beautiful chandeliers. Peggy said he had connections.
One more thing about the stained glass windows. The ones in the back were done by a parishioner of ours, Fran and Ray Dupree. I helped Ray copy the patterns so that we could duplicate them on those 4 windows in the back.
They are really special.
Well, thank you all so much for sharing. Time is getting late. And Kathleen Well, Kathleen, I told you you'd learn a lot just talking to the Porch ladies, and you were really lucky because they won't be back on that porch as a group until this fall, only twice a year. So you can see that many people have left a mark on the beginnings of St. Matthew Catholic Church, but not only St. Matthew Catholic Church, Many of these ladies have left marks on the beginnings in Barrow County, and we're really proud of them. I just wonder what you think. I knew a little bit of this, but you're brand new. What do you think after hearing all this?
I have learned so much about this beautiful church and about the beautiful towns and everything. I know I'm going to move over to this area somewhere, Sheila, and you're going to help me, right?
Oh, sure, I'm there for you.
It's just wonderful. And like I said, the people I met along the way and hearing the stories of this church, I want to stay here.
Great. Well, we welcome you, and I'm sure that the ladies on the porch are going to be delighted that you've decided to nest here with us in Barrow County.
But you know what? I'm really hungry.
Yeah,
Can
I
I
know.
go eat or something?
Well, I tell you what, let's walk over and see if those ladies are still over at Hedges Hall. You know what?
What?
You might meet Miss Virginia Hedges.
Who's
I'll tell-
Virginia Hedges?
Virginia Hedges and her husband are very active in the parish, and this hall, Hedges Hall, was named after them as a tribute to them because we love them so much and all they do for us. So walk on over, I'll meet you in just a minute.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.